Hi
welcome
there.
to the Trekle Trunk. We are your hosts, Devin and Dave, aka Plain Simple Tailors.
And your very
And
own
you,
Locutors of Trek.
quite right, quite right. Seems I don't have a background on. Let me make this a prettier show for everybody. There we
Ooh,
go.
that's nicer already.
Yeah, much better. There we are. Locutors
Can't
of
carry it
Trek.
all myself.
Yeah. Today we are here. We're digging into the Trekle Trunk, and what we've come out with here is IDW's Star Trek number 3 and 4 from 2023, the current year. What's that in star date?
Ooh, where is this? Yeah, it gives us a start at right at the beginning of this here. Just
Well,
a moment.
Dave figures out the star date. Um,
I'll get you a star date. You want
and
your star dates? I'll get you a star date.
and also a comic we talked about on the Locutors of Trek episode before we split our show into several segments in shows in the science division here at Live Long and Podcast, and our own little subdivision of Locutors of Trek, of course, is the Ferengi, The Future is Female comic book.
Oh, yeah.
Right here.
A great
Right
issue.
here.
That's a one shot. I
Here
have still not
it's
got
a
a
one
good
shot.
start date.
In the vein of some of
Start
the
date 5
other
5 something anyway.
yeah, in the vein of some of the other species related one shots they've been releasing recently that we've reviewed here on the Treckle Trunk, such as Star Trek Klingon, which we enjoyed
Oh,
immensely,
yeah.
I think I can say, and also Star Trek Trill, which I liked it a lot, and Dave really liked.
Oh, yeah. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, so these
Okay, here we are.
species one shots have been quite good. Here we are.
Looks like we might be start date where we pick up the beginning of chapter issue 4 at start at 55322.2. So we're somewhere in the 5500s, probably 55301 or something like that, around when issue 3 would start. It seems like it's a few days or a week or so before.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. So we might as well start off with Star Trek numbers 3 and 4. What do you think there, Dave?
Sure.
Written by Jackson Lanzig and Colin Kelly, and art by Ramon Rosanas. Rosana? Did I spell that right? I hope I did. Rosanas. Um,
So, yeah, it looks like Ramon
okay,
Rosanas,
good.
and Joe
Good.
Eisman, pages 2 to 21.
Hmm,
So we got a beautiful
missed that.
piece of cover art here with
Very good.
only
I
a
also have
little bit of a hint as to what may be happening.
that in a little clearer shot for the
Oh, thank you.
viewers there. There we go. Yes, that appears to be Judge Q uh,
Hmm.
behind the very nice shot of the thesis there.
Yeah, I really like the amount of the ship we see in these two issues as well. You get some
Hmm.
really good views of it from different angles, and you see some of the design choices that are getting made.
So a quick yada yada of the first two issues. The Cisco is back. He's got his hand-picked crew, except for Data. He didn't handpick him. He got forced Data. But it's not bad. Nothing wrong with that. He's got to be forced something. A Data. I mean, I'd take one. Uh, Not that I could
Yeah.
own a Data, because he has personhood, of course. He has the measure of a man, you might say. Um,
Well, and so yeah,
and
this kind
something's
of
killing the
motley crew
gods.
heads out to
Godlike
investigate
beings.
the
Yeah.
deaths of things they're choosing to call gods. Um, we first lose the crystalline entities, right? And then,
Some other ones maybe we're not particularly familiar with before that.
mhm.
Uh,
But in issue 3,
Q were, yeah, we find out if the Q are worried about this particular
yeah.
problem.
So
So the
issue
Prophet
3
sent Cisco
opens.
back to
How
deal
many
with it, and
pages do you have to throw up, Devin?
images,
The
none,
pages.
just
Yeah,
the
I'm holding
covers.
them up.
Just to, yeah, you can hold them up every now and then if you want.
Sure. So we open
Mm,
on this lovely page of Talir of Vulcan, or I am Talir, a Vulcan of Starfleet.
Interesting character, new character for the book, as far as I know.
Yeah, who's been, well, quite. He's clearly a genius. He's got a number of scientific awards and things, that sort of stuff. He's a young Vulcan. I doubt he would be more than about 40 or so when, by the time he gets on to maybe in his early 20s when he's arriving here. I'm not sure. Given the dates, it looks like that might be the case. But the story really opens on an interview between Dr. Crusher and Captain Sisko, in which she's trying to
I like
assess
this.
him once again.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what she's sent there to do. I don't think he picked her either. Actually, I think Picard sent her.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so too. And she kind of comes clean during the beginning of this, saying what she's really trying to do is figure out whether some of what she is understanding to be physiological changes occurring within Ben Sisko's body are making him something that is demonstrably no longer human. And I think at that point, the question becomes, is he able to retain his Starfleet commission and command if he's sufficiently transformed, right?
or at least, yeah, no longer himself, whether he's human or not. If it, is he control of all his faculties or not?
Precisely. And that for the doctor
Yeah.
is, of course, the impending question. Do I have to remove him from command at some point? Which is, she's sort of a kill switch in this whole scenario, right?
And she's a good person to send to do that because she'll relieve anyone of. She don't care. Like, she's done it to Picard,
Yeah, and
or at least
she
threatened
outlines a
to.
bit of her resume here, which is cool.
Yeah, true. She's like, I was the only one left in the universe once, so like, you're welcome because I saved it because it was just me. So
Yeah,
it's just,
yeah,
well,
she's
I think your little profits and all that stuff is big. Well, I was the only one left in the universe, but I love that
exactly.
callback. Actually, this conversation is my favorite part of the issue. Um, I think
Um,
they're fresher in your mind than mine. I've read them a few days ago.
yeah, I thought, yeah, Crusher was really true to her later series, like season 5, 6, 7 characterizations of Crusher. I
Which is
found her
good
quite
because the early
really,
characterization was
quite
not
charming.
particularly flattering. I didn't find.
Uh, and then we
um,
turn at one point to Jake and Talir, who are making gumbo together. We learned
oh
that
yeah,
his
he took
grandfather
Jake
has in
along.
fact passed away.
He hadn't
Um,
known that.
yeah,
That he took
and
Jake along.
as they're making gumbo, the something is odd on the ship. But interestingly,
Definitely not Grandpa
Talir,
Joe's gumbo because he took that to
that
the
sort of
grave.
senses it, right? He senses something's not right. And then it's madness. There's like a big splash
Yeah,
page of
Cowboys.
Old West style action. Uh, a great, almost Where's Waldo style run through the ship ensues. And yeah, we get some beautiful art of the continuing conversation between Crusher and uh, Cisco. I assume this is how he's looking on her sensors, you know? Or maybe
So
we're
they're
also
there.
getting a glimpse into his own memories to some extent.
That, or if it is on her sensors, then even more the reason for her to wonder if he's still human or whatever. I mean, and to be fair, Starfleet has always thought Cisco was half crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And
They
he
just go
will
with it.
reference that at various points of these issues for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
These issues I like them quite a bit. I like the fourth one better than the third one, I think. Uh,
yeah, the third
but
seems to me like very much of a getting here to there sort of an issue in some ways.
the
There's some good
the
moments in the story here. I like
the
the
requisite Q appearance.
yeah, the requisite Q appearance.
Yeah.
Ta-da, Mr.
Dun
Q.
dun dun.
Yeah. So,
Talks about how he
we got a
punched him
lovely
out.
page of log entries of all the times that Starfleet captains have met Q, and it just goes down to the entries to
Hmm.
the once,
All
which
their
then comes in
descriptions of
to
the
say,
Q, right?
Q came to Deep Space Nine today. I put my fist through his face. And he then
Everyone else
proceeds
is
to
just like,
do
I think they
amazing
are
everything.
mischievous devils that, you know, bother the galaxy and tyrants, really, and like all this crazy stuff. And he's just like, yeah, I put my fist in his face.
So we get another bit of a fist fight until Q says, "Hey, back it off. Um, I came here to see whether what was going on, but you've already failed the test." Beverly chimes in saying, "There it is, Q's favorite word, test." Um, so elsewhere on the ship, while Jake gets another small moment of his dad not really having any confidence that he can do anything aboard a spaceship by saying just stay safe, uh, is invited along. I really like this page a lot. A delightful panel of sort of navigating their way through the Jeffries
All these
tubes between
yeah,
these decks where there's utter madness happening.
that was good.
And they finally find their way to a deflector dish and decide to utilize a method of trying to force Q off the ship.
I've
And
been trying to figure that out for years.
yeah, Talir um, sacrifices himself. It looks like he's just vaporized in this particular panel. Uh, and so Q decides this time to take on an engineering or security uniform, which he's not done in the past, and wants to make a deal with Cisco,
Indeed.
saying, "Don't you dare let us down." It seems the Q are worried about this assassin of the gods as well.
Mm.
We get a nice joke from Worf about having to wear a stupid hat. He's been on the ship like 10 minutes and he's like, "I've already been in a stupid hat," which I quite enjoyed.
I am not
And
a merry man.
then we come back to sort of page which beautifully mirrors the other end. But what we see here, just a moment, where there's gumbo getting eaten, there's all sorts of stuff. Beautiful things are happening. But Talir here in the middle
Mm.
looks like still has a wound of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think, remains an enduring mystery for this story so far. What does
Mm-hmm.
that wound mean? And did it carry through from before Q reset everything?
Mm.
Or is it some form of, well, I don't know. What do you think?
I never really thought about it. I was just waiting for the reveal. I don't know. I don't really have a good guess on that. Like, I feel like it's to do with a story element that hasn't been introduced yet.
That's possible. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Um,
I don't
so
think
we'll
it has
have to
to do
see
with
on
any
that
of
one.
this.
That made me very curious.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Bit of a filler one for sure, just because it's, the Q things always are. Um, pretty fun. I like that he brought Jake along because one of the problems I had, like, I started off quite positive, and you and cousin Dave were like, I don't know, I'm skeptical, and I started to lean your guys' way a little bit after issue 2, I gotta say, and
Hmm.
then issue 3, because it just like it wasn't the Cisco return we wanted, because he didn't get to reunite with any of the characters that we know that he knows really, and
Hmm.
other than Jake. But so I'm glad he took Jake with him, because for him to just forget about his family entirely really bothered me, and
Yeah.
that seemed very true to character. He hasn't seen his son in forever. He would definitely take him along, I think.
Yeah. Even though he's sort of pulled by this driving urge to kind of go and sort out this situation. in some definite way, you know. Um, I really do. There are elements of this issue that I really enjoy a lot. You know, I really liked the sense in which we get to see. Well, there's some really fun art. First of all, you know, some of those pages where they're climbing through the Jeffries tubes and stuff. I really liked some of that. I love to see Benjamin punch and Q again. That was great. Uh, and getting to see a little more of Dr. Crusher was quite nice as well, you know. And I think there's in some ways there's kind of a meta set of questions that way about these characters. Crusher, particularly in Jake, I think, because Jake's whole role in the story in this episode or this issue is literally like, why am I here? You know? And that's partly through the gumbo, right? He's like, we don't know the secret ingredient that Grandpa used. But he said, if we were around him enough, why should he ever have to write it down? Right. And so we lost that piece of the tradition. So he's trying to recreate or go beyond his grandfather's gumbo and thus his father's gumbo. But it's like, it's a really beautiful moment, right? It really struck me as they
Yeah.
really get the problem of Jake in this story. And they're kind of trying to tell you that on the page is that he's saying, like, I've also lost my dad in a way that I haven't had redeemed to me even in his return, right? Like he's back, but there's still something that's not that he's wondering if it's there. You know, it kind of reinforces that main question of is he human or is he becoming something different? Uh,
The
but it
person I
also
knew
really
ever
lets you see
return.
Jake.
Like, mm, yeah.
Sorry, I think I interrupted you there.
Oh no, or more like I interrupted you probably. This seems to be a slight lag, but um, but yeah,
It's stuck in an endless loop of no, you first, sir. No, I do insist.
well, I do enjoy the nod to Grandpa Joe too. When with Grandpa Joe, sort of Jake saying about him, he was like Grandpa Joe's just like all you guys had to do was pay attention, and you would know my recipe, but you like didn't bother. And, like that's what
Oh, and
Grandpa
that's a
Joe has
nice
always
other
said to
side,
them.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, and that's a very Grandpa Joe thing because he's a more like tactile, hands-on, real world, down to earth kind of fella. He's just like,
Yeah.
I'd pay attention to a recipe if I wanted to know it, but like you dummies didn't.
Yeah,
Like,
like one of you was finding new recipes and one of you was like writing about what recipes are. Come on, like neither
yeah,
of you are the same person. Uh
seriously.
and you know, that's not necessarily wrong with them, but you can really feel that sense of Jake's experience of the passing of time as a series of um moments beyond retrieval, right? Which his father has had a lot of the opposite experience of, right? He's been omniscient
Yeah.
and omnipresent to all space and time, you
And he
know?
never gets to remember any of it,
Well, that's
really.
true. He just has that weird longing, you're right,
Yeah,
for it again.
yeah.
Uh,
It's a it's an interesting predicament they put Benjamin Sisko in, those prophets. So, being the emissary is not the easiest job, gotta say.
no, it's
And I
like
just watched an
actually,
episode recently. He's just like, "Why are you guys always so damn mysterious?" He's like yelling at the prophets. He's like, "Enough with the damn mystery. I've got like an hour to figure this out, and I don't have time for your like
yeah, exactly.
gibberish." Like,
You're just going, the Cisco is afraid. Well, yes, obviously. Thank you.
yes.
All
So
right.
Dave, I wonder after issue 3 there, where are you on this story from where you started after like issue 1?
Um, well, where I am right now is I am really enjoying that this story is getting told in a comic book format. In the sense that there are moments you can dwell on in this medium that I think film doesn't handle as well. And there are mirror rings in terms of page layout and a lot of sorts of things that can imply a sort of dynamic or a layer of meaning in the story that works especially well, I think, for this kind of story they're trying to tell, where there's a huge kind of crystalline structure uh, that's seemingly kind of getting viewed from a number of angles as we move through the story, right? We're trying to figure out just what it is that we're actually looking at,
No pun
even while
intended.
we're doing stuff all around it, right? So I really like it in that respect. I don't, my sort of head canon how Cisco returns, I think, is somehow different than this, but I'm really
Headcanon
enjoying.
has hard with that idea, even in like speculation. Like, what is a satisfying way for like, because Cisco's at his best when he's not dealing with all the profit nonsense. I find when he's just being the kick-ass Starfleet captain is my
Mhm.
favorite. And you know himself, the cook, the Renaissance man. Like this, he can do anything. Like just like Avery Brooks. Um,
Built a space sailboat. Come on.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
So
Um,
it's like hard to think of an idea that brings him back because it'll have to be back from them in all that metaphysical storyline stuff. But like, do you just like have them set him back there and then he just goes back to being the captain guy? Like, it's hard to figure like 'cause that
yeah.
seems like a clunky thing they wouldn't do in a story. Like they would have to play out that profit business a bit.
But now you raise another question in my mind. Like, what, and this is precisely because of Q's repeated use of the word Messiah, right? He says, "Oh yeah, gods choose their messiahs a bit at random sometimes." He's really quite snooty about it, uh, but it's an interesting point, right? In one of his very famous final texts, Walter Benjamin talks about the human species as shot through with what he calls a weak messianic power, right? That we have this orientation toward the future that doesn't necessarily uh, begrudge the future, but expects it. And so, under ideal circumstances, works toward the arrival of that future in a way that will give it fruitful possibilities, right?
Mhm.
It's why we work to try and stabilize our economic circumstances so our kids will have a good, safe, well provisioned place to grow up, right? And that sort of thing.
Oh
And
yeah.
it got me thinking that, like, the question of that sort of chosenness, because that's what Messiah means, right? It's the Mashiach, or a Messiah, is literally an anointed creature, right? And that's what it means, coming from sort of ancient Aramaic Hebrew stuff. But that sense of being chosen for a task, I think, always does carry with it that dynamic of, is it the right choice? Are they up to it? Can they bear what will be required, or what is implied in this task?
Well, at
Um,
least in their
and in that
choice of
respect,
the
I think
Benjamin
the story is
Sisko.
doing a really interesting job of
Yeah.
meditating on that. Like, what possible return could Ben Cisco have that would be adequate to the weight of expectation? You know,
Yeah. Yeah. So like what would you do?
gosh, um, I part of me would want uh the whole story to involve the return of that Dominion fleet out of the ether.
Oh, that's a good one. Why didn't you bring up that number last episode? No, because we did our last Locutors
Oh
episode. We
man,
did our top 5 storylines that shouldn't have been dropped and
no, I
neglected.
absolutely should have. I
Oh
totally, no.
well.
You're right. It was a failure on my part.
Ah, yeah. Then it's all a success in the end.
We'll call it a win.
Yeah,
But yeah, like,
we.
I would like to tie it together with some of that stuff, right? Like, tie it together with both, like, the physical weirdness of the wormhole, but also like an indelible relationship to Bajor that both Starfleet and circumstance could stretch, because they want him doing stuff that isn't there, or they want him sent other places. And yeah, like, you could do a lot of fun stuff with Ben Cisco kind of flipping around the recipe of, or the ratio of, emissary and Starfleet man inside him.
I like that actually. That works. Good job, Dave, because it has that kind of metaphysical element where it's just there appeared out of nowhere, this fleet, and
Yeah.
but it's a more grounded threat. So then you get the Starfleet version of Ben. Yeah, that's really good. Dang. Okay, your version is better, but we will continue on with this story.
Well, no, I mean, the lovely thing about writing stories is that, I mean, honestly, if we didn't have these pesky copyright things, we could all just be writing stories of Star Trek.
Well,
At
you know
least
what? That
versions of
brings
Star
me
Trek. Well, I
to
suppose slash fiction or fan fiction anyway does that.
that
Uh,
makes me putting you on blast for we got to get back to the writers' room in
oh,
that
that's
regard.
true. Oh, I hoisted myself on my own petard and didn't even realize it there.
Yep.
uh,
So yeah, we come to issue 4. Look at that cover there. This is the color version. You have the retailer incentive black and white version
yeah.
there in your hand, I believe. But there it is with the color version. I love this image actually, with the shadow of the bird of prey over top of the Theseus, which also has the shadow on that moon or whatever. Oh,
Oh,
very
yeah. It's
cool.
a really gorgeous cover. Uh, yeah, that blue there is a beautiful tint, though, eh?
Yeah, yeah,
I
it really
really
is.
like that. That's some nice coloring. So
Hmm.
this,
Let's compare. Throw up the black and white version there. Yeah, so that's more like the still very cool. It's a
oh
bit of
yeah,
a maybe a bit more ominous and
it
shadowy,
um.
but less pretty.
So the issue opens. We're back to doing stuff with tachyons, imaginary tachyons, which are superluminal, um, in order to try and find our way to the home world of the Takan Empire, which is a piece of information Q drops at the end of the last issue. And
Now
that
that's a
that I was
nod.
like, oh yes, now we are headed
That's
into serious Trek territory here.
this is a deep, deep cut. This is episode 5 of TNG, Errand of
Right?
Mercy, I believe.
So
Um,
this for viewers or listeners, if you're happening to do it that way, um, who have not remembered the episode super well, this is the first meeting we ever have with the Ferengi above a
mhm.
planet that drains power. Ever the more they, the Chinese finger trap episode, as you might call it, and eventually
These
they run
guys,
into both Ferengi down on the
Demontar.
planet with those weird crystals everywhere, and they have the energy whips that we never see really show up or used again. But
Mhm.
they meet a guy on a bridge who is the last sentinel of the Takan Empire, and he's been slumbering for about 600,000 years at this point. But it says here the
Swan,
Takan,
if you'd like to enter the Takan Empire.
right? So this
Basically.
empire, the issue asserts, and I think they were talking about the same in episode 5 of TNG or season 1. Uh, they were famous for rearranging stellar bodies and moving
Yeah.
whole star
They
systems.
made the Milky Way as we see it, like basically.
Yeah, yeah. Like they were
Kind
building
of
a
like how
garden path up
humans,
to
if
the
you
front
go
door,
into
right?
natural places, like you can go into the rainforest where it seems to be like rainforest, but if you look at what the plants are, they're clearly just like food crops that were planted in certain places and other plants not allowed in certain places. And it's like humans have constructed pretty much all of the environment at this point. Um,
Well, and I mean that point about the Amazon is absolutely incredible, right? Like you think about just the brilliance of that whole life pattern that the waste is charred down into the terra preta, the black earth that coats the ground, that stabilizes and massively nutritious for these huge plantations that are just tended by a population of millions and millions and millions uh, in these conurbations that stretch over the whole Amazon rainforest area, Um, but partly because it was a quote unquote alien form of organization and of practice to the people who were sailing up the streams a little while later in the rivers. It was understood to be unintelligible and wild, right? They wouldn't have found that. We didn't find it until we were shooting lasers at that stuff later, 500 years later.
Yeah.
And here they mapped the entirety of subspace in one night.
Yeah, that was quite the feat.
It's an impressive feat.
It is, yeah.
But
There's a lot in this issue. Though I will say, like, I wanted the point you made earlier about you're glad that this story's in a comic book. I will say, I've always really enjoyed Star Trek comic books because I think it's perhaps, if not the best, one of the best mediums for Star Trek, because you can have it appear and flow almost like a television episode, but with budget constraint reasons in television, you can add so much more, like that scene of them running through the Jeffries tubes and it changing and it being madness and all that stuff. And it, especially with the Deep Space Nine comics, you can have Odo really be a changeling, the things he can
oh
do.
yeah,
And because that was one thing about Deep Space Nine, watching it, you're just like, for a changeling, he mostly just stays as this guy. He's just
he
this
does
guy.
become a duffel bag on a couple of occasions, and
Duffel
a
bag.
few other things. But yeah, it's
What's he
definitely one
doing?
of those things where the
Being
small
Fogg.
screen is hampered by its budget. I'm sorry, you may be hearing my
Yeah.
dog losing his mind in the background as well. I don't know. I hope it's not
Down
coming from
Apollo.
well.
I can hear him. Yeah, that's funny though.
Yes,
Down
bold
Apollo.
Apollo is telling someone that they shouldn't have knocked at the door. I think. Big tough Amazon guy is getting scared away right now. I'm sure. Oh
Yeah.
well, he thinks he's a toughie. Davin's
Yeah.
met him. He's a big guy. He's a goofball in the end.
Yep.
But
Well, he'll just accidentally eat your baby. He won't do it on purpose.
oh yeah, he'll just run his giant stupid head into you, right? Bonk. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've worried he's concussed me more than once when just trying to play. So he's
He's
just a
got a big hard head.
guy. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so moving on into the issue, the Theseus is chasing down the heart of the Takan Empire, and as they're moving, they come upon this absolutely gorgeous space world.
Isn't it a Dyson sphere?
Must be something. Well, you can see a star behind it, perhaps.
Oh, okay.
So it may, like, if you look right there.
Oh yeah, you're right.
The right page here. Just a second. There's something popping up on there. Yeah.
Unless it's a
You can see
binary
what looks like
system.
a star behind it on the page. So it may just be something that's built, but it's clearly the size of a number of planets. So it's either a Dyson sphere or some sort of just massive.
It'd encompass a planet. There could be a planet in there.
Yeah, that's true. There's some really cool theories on how to do that and preserve workable gravity and atmosphere further and further up from the surface of the Earth. So you sort of effectively used it all up, and at the very edge, even though you still got breathable atmosphere, you're kind of floating around at about 0.8 G or something, right? It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I just want a space elevator, man. That'll just make the whole thing so much easier.
I know. I've been wanting a space elevator for so long because it seems kind of practical and within our grasp.
It feels like it should be at this point,
Just
right?
a tether, like they do on Voyager. It's a tether, Elevators it sounds a little less possible when you use the word elevator, but if you just think of it as a tether.
Yeah, it's true. When what you're really doing is like running a bead
line
up and down a rope, right? It's not so
exactly.
crazy.
No, just a really long rope.
Yeah.
But we've got that much rope. It's not that much rope. We have that much rope.
Well, I think we must be able to produce that much like graphene encrusted stuff or something, right? Because graphene is so bloody thin, and there's really easy methods to produce it now.
You look at all the roads and like telephone lines and stuff. Like you can. There's plenty of cable.
Get it together, ruling class. Come on.
Yeah, rule better if you're gonna rule.
Take note.
We're taking the power back.
That's right. The People's Revolution will be for a space elevator.
Through holding to our Starfleet principles.
That's right. We want spaceships and we want them now. So they decide to go in there Data suggests that it might be a good idea not to do that, and Cisco looks at him and says something like, "Why would you ever imagine me to do that? You know exactly why I'm here." And so they head inside this thing where they find there's something like a giant brain or being or something in here, right? It's not entirely clear, but it looks like there's a huge amount of what can amount to neural type tissue. Um, this whole station has been built essentially around a giant Boltzmann brain in space, right? Um, but one on a scale of planetary magnitude, right? It's larger than a gas giant by the looks of it. So a brain that size, you can only imagine the computational power. There's a guy actually. There's a fun scientist who's kind of on the edge of um, theories about the character of life, and we talked about this in an earlier episode at one point. A guy named Rupert Sheldrake who propounds really, really interesting, but so far, of course, untested um, hypotheses about how you could test for if a star were intelligent. How you could sort of see if there was something like
Turing test
the
for stars.
the movement of signal in a brain happening in a star, right? It's like it's a giant electromagnetic furnace. It's
Mm.
entirely possible that it could be doing what amounts, in our words, to thinking, right?
It created a polar vortex the other day.
Right?
Did you see that? That was
I
crazy.
certainly felt that sucker go by. Jeepers. Think my
No, I mean,
vision has to hide
there
from the
was a
bottom of the
polar
boat.
vortex on the sun.
Oh, really?
This flare came off of it, and it instead of just like flaring off and dissipating away, it created a vortex. You can see the image of it. They got it with the James Webb, and it creates this like
Wow.
swirling
Oh, I'm going to
vortex.
have to look that up.
It's
That's
pretty
cool.
crazy.
Yeah. But so as they're entering into this thing, they begin to learn a little bit more about it, and they detect something else approaching. Uh,
Dun, dun, dun.
da, 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 and it
Who could it
is
be? I'm sure the cover didn't spoil this at all.
right here. It is one of my favorite starships ever, the
One of the
classic
best designs ever.
Burrell class Klingon bird of prey. And this one appears to be, by the description on later pages, a relatively small exemplar of the class. It's smaller than the Theseus anyway,
Mhm.
um, which appears to be not the largest ship class in Starfleet.
No,
Um,
certainly not.
my suspicion is it's somewhere around a Miranda class size or something like that would be my suspicion. Maybe a little bigger, but uh, yeah. So this ship could be crewed by 40 Klingons, could be crewed by 80, a dozen, who knows? But it's not a big ship. But as Tom Paris notes, the Theseus is built to run, so they can come after this ship pretty fast and not lose her, given their low profile and Theseus's maneuverability.
Tommy
So they
P at
chase
the
them in.
helm.
They absorb a couple of photon torpedoes as Scotty is arguing that space is getting what he says thick. It shouldn't be getting thick, Captain. Something
Yeah.
is, as opposed to what we often talk about in cosmology, the expansion of space time, something is squashing space here, which I would imagine means there's a resulting loss of speed or um, difficulties
It,
navigating to maneuver to miss objects, right? As the geometries all get bent around in weird ways.
more power
So,
requirements to move through it, that type of stuff. Maybe a drain on the
yeah,
shields, even.
yeah, big drain. Yeah, the shields are going down bit by piece. And then it is revealed who we're actually talking to here.
Dun, dun, dun. I loved this storyline actually.
This is a great idea. And when I saw him on the page, I thought, oh, this is smart. And makes
Mhm.
sense of the earlier mention that we'd seen where they go and pick up Worf from Konos. The antagonist here is Kahless. Emperor of the Klingon Empire. And
Kahless the second.
He has, and in a way, it's interesting, right? Because this kind of picks up on a theme from Deep Space Nine itself. You remember when the great poet comes back through the wormhole and he tries to reinstitute the caste system on Bajor.
Akaram.
Yeah. I feel like this is another view on that theme, you know? Because here's this other guy who has Kahless's memories and remembers Molor and his deal with, I think, something that turned out to maybe be the Romulans or something else, I forget, to behave, to let him act like a local god, right?
No, he doesn't quite have Kahless's memories. He has the stories of Kahless sort of like built into him.
That's true.
So he doesn't have the details of the events oftentimes.
That's right. And so what he's decided to do is finish Kahless's work, right? He's like, well, the Klingons killed the beating Klingon heart, killed its own gods. Now I'm going to finish the job.
I loved it. So good.
It's like a weird kind of, and I don't mean positive in that it's like good or that I affirm of it, but like a kind of positive nihilism, right?
Yeah.
It's like we're gonna get.
We did it for a reason.
Clear it away.
And yeah,
which is a fascinating.
Yeah. Oh, it works so well for that character, because that character being, even any semblance of Kahless at all, and just being a Klingon, would be haunted constantly by the fact that he's not Kahless and none of that glory was his. So he would want to achieve the greatest glory he could possibly think to achieve for the Klingon Empire. And that Klingon clone did always come off as a bit even corrupt, even like, no, he's not Kahless, which is why I think that Star Trek Klingon issue, if you read that first, is a nice a backdrop or like backstory to this story, like to see the differences between Kahless and Kahless the second. They're not the same guy at all. Like that original
What you
Kahless
see
is
at
like
that battle is it's a very different creature.
Even his strength of character and all these things, like the Kahless in that story was awesome. Like it lived up
it's
to
tricky,
the
right? Because that Kahless essentially forges himself. Right, and that's what he really determines to be. He's like, I'm going to be a self-forged being, and this again.
So perhaps they're similar in that sense. He would want to be this.
Yeah, because like one of the place that we get the word nihilism from as a concept in modern life is Friedrich Nietzsche, right? From whom we also get one of his classic teachings, the Übermensch, which was so distorted and perverted and brutalized by his sister and his brother-in-law that toward a sort of fascist ideology that the Nazis picked it up, but which in its essence, its actual Nietzschean essence, he speaks about the one that has overcome themselves, which becomes for themselves a source of values, a generator of values, unencumbered by the positions or the values of others, save as they choose to consider them, right? And that, to me, that creature that's overcome himself and now generates his own view of how to live the world, that's Kahless.
That's also Starfleet officers, at least how they see themselves,
right?
Or like the best representations of them.
Absolutely. Now, the thing that
especially Picard,
I feel sort of makes Kahless beautifully Nietzsche in this regard is that he positions the nothing, or what he'll call the abyss, the nihil, as one of the moments in that, right? He's like, you can get trapped gazing into that abyss and you become a monster. So as it says in, Beyond Good and Evil. But to gaze into that, realize that, the only grounding I'm going to have in my life for my values, for my actions, for the true concreteness of my beliefs is me, ultimately, right? Because I've got to do it and choose it and enact it. That, he says, is a liberation past that sort of nothing, that annihilation, right? The nihilism. Because that's what he's really looking to do in his whole philosophical project. And I feel like Kalis is seeing his society at a moment of annihilation. And what he chooses to do is drive straight through that and create a Klingon world that can live past that collapse. But this Kalis doesn't have that vision. He's got a very different vision.
More about individual glory. Like, there's no benefit really to the Klingon Empire to destroy all the godlike entities that are otherwise just leaving them alone. Like, their own
Yeah,
gods, fine. If they're messing your shit up, then take them down. But gods that are just leaving you alone anyway, whatever,
right.
leave them alone.
Yeah, and that I think shows that he's been more influenced by his contemporary experience among the warriors of this sort of decadent moment in Klingon society, where the
Softer.
warrior or the personal glory stuff has become like the sole object, really, of that sort of fraying culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, this is my favorite issue of the whole series so far.
Me too. It's very good. It would make a great episode of Star Trek.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. It would make a great
Yeah,
episode of Deep Space Nine for sure.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, see, this is the thing. So I'm so up and down with the story as a whole, as far as the headcanon goes, because it didn't give me everything I wanted about the original Cisco return, but I love this. Uh,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
like a
Like
lot of the other stuff too.
the story is being told really, really well,
Yeah, yeah.
and that I'm enjoying about
I'm
it very
still I'm still there for it. It has to lose me. I'm there for it. It
much. Right on. I'm
but this
still
issue was a
suspending
big one.
judgment till
Yep,
we
yep.
see the whole run. I think.
Oh, me too. But
Yeah.
I like where we're at. This was a good issue, especially if it
Oh, this is a
focuses more
great
on this.
twist, man. Ooh,
Hmm.
that was good.
And he's such a good adversary. I always wanted him as an adversary, kind of. That the
Well,
second Kalis, because
classic
he's
Federation
not
versus
Kalis.
Klingon
You want
fight.
to hate him, especially after reading that comic
Yeah.
book issue. It's like, no,
Well,
screw this big Kalis.
and
Like,
now that I think about it, in the last issue, when Talir and Jake are running through various places, and there's one spot where there's one officer dragging another officer away, and he's saying, "Oh, come on, no, is that Kirk? Is that Core? Oh, this is the Organian Peace Treaty." Like, there's a wonderful like that. I didn't realize that, but that's a really clever piece of foreshadowing right there. Like, you're gonna have a Klingon Federation fight coming up.
lots of deep cuts in this.
Yeah, man.
All right, up
All
next, Star
right.
Trek Ferengi. The Future is Female One Shot, written by Christina Rice and art by Andy Price. Here's the cover here. Awesome cover. Great art. Looks just like Quark. Looks just like Moogie.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Not my station. This is the sign Quark is holding while sitting on a box of one gross of self-stealing stem bolts. Says right there.
Oh, that's right.
So,
Yeah, it
so
is,
that's the
isn't
size of a gross of stem bolts right there. You can sit on it. It's like an apple box.
it?
Uh, yeah.
So set the
So
scene for us here. I haven't
I
read this issue
shall.
in
I
a few
shall.
weeks at this rate.
Yes. Yep. No problem at all. We have find ourselves on the greatest place in the galaxy, Deep Space Nine,
Indeed, Deep Space Nine.
and there we find ourselves there with Morn, of course, in his chair, keep it warm, and we find Quark trying to sell Julian on a bottle of Sluggo Cola, 43% live algae, and of course Julian just wants a root beer. So insidious. Quark has a nice line here. He's like, and somehow the Federation manages to persist despite the involvement of humans. And Bashir's just
Oh,
like, indeed we do persist. Such a Bashir thing to say.
oh man. Quark's frank appraisal of humans is I think just one of those like deflations for the balloon of our head that we always need.
Nice shot of Quark. Yeah, he really is. And he's just feeling a little
Great
off. He
art.
says maybe he's due for a Moogie visit. But
Mhm.
but why, he says, should I want to leave this wonderful latinum generating establishment? And then he sees what we see as someone in shadows in a cloak. But Quark knows who this is, or at least sees more than we can see. So he follows this individual, passing our favorite, the original tailor, on the way. There's Garrick there.
Indeed.
Who says, Quark, has the latest shipment of Kanar arrived yet? And it has not, unfortunately for Garrick. It has not arrived. The Dabo table, unfortunately, Lita says, has been paying off big all day.
Ooh.
So Quark says, put an out of order sign on it, and he'll take a look at it later. Interesting image here. There's Cisco coming back from playing baseball on the holodeck. Dax there, Worf. So this, geez, I don't know if we get a star date, but this takes place
This is set somewhere season 6 or
sometime,
7, or season 6, I would suspect.
yeah, sometime after, a fair bit of time after um, Moogie starts wearing clothes and
Yeah.
all of that kind of stuff. What is that? Family Business? Maybe that episode.
Yeah.
Um, so Quark is following this person and like, ha, sees them go into a doorway. And Odo's here. He was here because he has a problem with Quark. But Quark's like, I got no time for you. You always have a problem. And he keeps following this individual. And eventually, knock, 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 the individual knocks on the door of Rom's quarters. And Rom's like, get in here fast. And Quark's just like, Rom, why am I not surprised? And look who we have. It is a female Ferengi wearing clothes. Quite scandalous. Quite scandalous, I
Indeed.
must say. And she just says she wanted to go to Quark's bar. It's a Ferengi run establishment on a prominent space station. Why would she not want to check that out? And her name is Amron. And Rom tells her she shouldn't be walking around like that. If Quark saw a clothed female on the station, there'd be some big trouble. And Quark's listening at the door. It's like, this is, of course, he can hear. He's a Ferengi. He's like, having a female Ferengi servant on board isn't a half bad idea. It appears I've underestimated my brother. He thinks Rom's got a
Immediately
servant.
jumps to the creepy conclusion, right?
Of
That's our Quark.
course. This is what he would have done. Um, so she's saying how inspiring and exhilarating it is being so far away from Ferenginar, because of course females aren't allowed to leave the home world. Very impressive culture. As much as we love the Ferengi, it was time for a change.
Yeah.
Um, and they can still be their glorious Ferengi selves besides the horrible, horrible misogyny.
Yeah. Yeah. Ideally, I think once they, it'll take a generation or two, but once the Ferengi realize the market value of all this, they're going to be cool with the whole thing.
So
That's
Quark comes in and Rom's just like, I knew I shouldn't have given the override code to my room. Of course not. Of course not, Rom. That's the last thing you should. Oh my god, he is a bit of an idiot sometimes.
yeah.
So,
I love
Quark's just like, especially, he's like, it's not bad, especially after you get those vile clothes off her and burn them. She's like, the clothes stay on. Rom, I will not tolerate outbursts like that as long as she is staying here. He's just pulling the super, like, is that female talking to me? Oh my god.
Quark.
So Mom's like, let's get out of here, Amron. He's just like, you can't take her out in public and clothed.
Loathed. I like it that his
Yeah.
hand kind of looks like some weird diplodocus in that picture. It's funny.
Oh, yeah. It does too.
It's like
Yeah.
dinosaur.
Good catch.
Awesome.
Good catch. Amron says Ishka didn't exaggerate about you. And he's just like, wait a minute, what does my mother have to do with this? So eventually he finds out from
What
Rom.
doesn't she have to do with this?
Yeah, exactly. Ishka, and Rom is helping her, is smuggling females off of Ferenginar. Which I think, okay, I'm going to stop right here for a sec. Fantastic. That should have been an episode. Get rid of Wrongs Darker Than Death or Night and make this episode. Like, because they didn't
Oh,
follow. We I could have made that in the last episode one of the plot lines they shouldn't have let die, but they did bring it back in a comic book. So, yeah, they never followed up on the female plight on Ferenginar, and that's a huge story.
yeah.
Uh,
But
with
I mean, you can
interesting.
absolutely see it um, being a total expression of that now voiced possibility of greater equality, right?
Mhm. So then he's just like, Mugi has been funding a covert operation to sneak females off Ferenginar. They get the passage to Deep Space Nine, where they arranged additional transport to the Gamma Quadrant. So they're hiding the females in the Gamma Quadrant, which is an interesting choice. um,
Yeah.
maybe this is a little bit before the Dominion War. I'm not sure. Um,
But they also had made friends over there. They may have found
True.
somewhere to stash them, you know?
Yeah, very good point. Um, who could they possibly be meeting up with in the Gamma Quadrant? He wonders, and then he remembers Hell, who we may remember from
Oh,
the Deep Space
right.
Nine episode, the female Ferengi who was pretending to be one of his male waiters that fell
What a
in love with
great
him. And he
episode.
great episode. And Pell is a great character.
Yeah.
So yeah, Pell is in the Gamma Quadrant now. Like what a team! Moogie and Pell and Rom. Man, Ferenginar has some real friggin' freedom fighters here.
Yeah.
Union men and women,
Heroes.
heroes. So here we are, the torrential rains of Ferenginar. It seems to be gleaming outside at the moment.
Yeah.
Um,
Looks about right.
a good gleaming.
Well, I mean, you would know. You spent a lot
Look
more
at them.
time with Ferenginar than I have.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm 2 semesters.
Huh?
But look at them just trotting through the swamps. You can't even get anywhere without trotting through a swamp.
Oh, they must have like the best like rubber boots in the galaxy, man.
Well, they're mentioned. There's an episode that mentions Ferenginar boots or
Oh, that's
galoshes. I think
right.
it's Ferenginar galoshes. Like, yeah, seriously. Like, I want a pair of those.
Yeah.
For fishing. Give me some Ferenginar galoshes. So yeah, Quark walks into his family home. Nice spot there. Very nice. Big trees around on the swamp. You never got to see the outside of their residence before, so that's interesting.
No.
They have their landing pad there, like on the front yard. Whereas I suppose you would, instead of your like in these future societies, instead of your driveway, you have your landing pad
Yeah.
for craft. Yeah.
Great.
He's just like, Moogie, get in here. And she's like, what's all the racket? Oh, it's you. She's like, still wearing clothes, I see. He's just like, give it a rest, man. You've lost that battle.
Such a stick in the butt.
But the better Ferengi than even he is. She's like, did you make a deposit? To enter someone's home,
Nice.
you have to pay them. He's like, why would I do that? She's like, if I'm going to get yelled at in my own home, you're going to pay for that privilege. I love Moogie. Moogie's the
Oh,
best.
she's awesome.
He's just like, tell me what you're doing with these insane plans and that sort of stuff. Um, she's just like, you're a good Rom. You're a good boy. She loves Rom, of course. So
Yep.
Moogie's been funding this whole thing because, as we know, Moogie's shrewd in business and has managed to make a fair bit of Latin.
Yeah.
And so yeah, she's. Oh no, she says that's not true. My bad. He accuses her of that. She says no, they've been funding their own passage. Fair enough.
What she's
So
doing is
other
helping him
females are
to
out there.
undertake business.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
would
The other
suspect what
females
she's
are making
probably
profit.
doing, if we looked into her accounts, she might be
Hmm.
doing something like the sort of microcredit loans that were really popular, and I think still are
Oh,
in many
sure.
cases in Southeast Asia a number of years ago, right? That were like very, very small amounts that would let somebody sort of get their way going, and then if they had the lobes for it in Ferengi society, they could run
Mhm.
with it from there. You know,
There are some ladies with big old lobes out there. So on
I know
Ferengi.
you're a lobe man.
Didn't choose Ferenginar for no reason. There's good schools everywhere. Could have gone to the school of Boleus.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Nothing wrong with checking the highlights of the scenery while you're there.
No, exactly. Mugi says that there are some enlightened male Ferengi, and some of the females have left with their male counterpartners, which is interesting.
Hmm.
He's of course just like male Ferengi escorting their mates, fully clothed, no doubt, off this planet. I don't know who I am anymore. He says, he's like, you're not my mother. Who is she? Who are you? Why did you replace her?
Oh, this is so good.
And then they hear a buzz at the door. Somebody comes rushing in out of the Glemin. Um, um, it seems to be an accomplice of hers. I don't think we get a name. Oh, it's Kelso. Oh no, she's talking about. This is Bong. This character's name is Bong. Comes running in out of the
Oh,
rain there, and Bong relates to Ishka. Says, it's Kelso. He's been arrested by the Ferengi Commerce Authority, and they know what he's been up to, and they confiscated his ship. So the person who's been getting these Ferengi women
oh,
off of the planet. So they've lost their main transport to Deep Space Nine. So that means that Karov is stuck here in her father's house and, until her father returns from Ryza.
ah,
That was someone they were looking to get off. And Karov is Nilva's daughter, and that's the commissioner of the FCA, chairman of Sluggo Cola.
oh, yes.
Yes, yes. So really smuggling off some high society Ferengi here.
So this is going
Doesn't
through
go
every
unnoticed.
stratum of Ferengi society,
Yeah.
and Rom's not the only male who has experienced a shift in his values either around this.
Yep. So they've,
Because I mean, Rom
they're
is
on a
not
time
always there,
crunch.
right? You remember he and Lita almost broke off their wedding when
Oh yeah,
over certain
the
economic
nuptials.
matters and all sorts of things,
It's
right?
like sign the prenuptial agreement. No. My profits are my own, lady. Like, that's funny. So yeah, they have it until the guy gets back from Ryza. So they're on a bit of a time crunch, and they're just like, we're screwed. Ishka's like, no, we're not, because my two boys will do it. They're going there anyway. I mean, why not? And then who enters through the door?
Brunt
What?
FCA.
FCA.
I love it.
And of course, Moogie's, yeah.
Jeffrey Combs in a comic book.
Oh, yeah. It's still great.
Yeah.
Liquidator Brunt. What an unwelcome surprise. Sadly, your clothes are not a surprise, Ishka. Yeah. Quark's or Brunt's just like, Quark, how nice of you to spare me the trip to Deep Space Nine.
Always wants to destroy Quark.
Okay, so he's there because he claims a rule of acquisition has been violated. And they're like, which one? He goes, for starters, Rule 94, females and finances don't mix. And
Good old
There's a
94.
rumor going around that female Ferengi have been leaving the planet, and they've been receiving funding to do it. And she goes, "What does that have to do with Quark?" Of course, he just says, "Must she speak to me?" Oh God, Brunt, the worst. But he also says, but why it has to do with Quark and why Brunt is here after Quark in the first place is because when a female violates the rules of acquisition, it's the head male that must atone. So
he gets to come after Quark.
gets to come after Quark, which is of course his favorite thing to do.
Oh, that makes his day.
It's like such a personal vendetta that doesn't really make a lot of sense, other than that he finds Quark offensive for not being Ferengi enough. Like,
Yeah.
And
Or
Rom
like
just is like even worse. His whole family,
Quark
really.
is like the most ideologically Ferengi guy in his own mind that he can imagine, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's always his first instinct, but he has a conscience that overrules it
Yeah,
sometimes.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So in some ways, Brunt isn't really wrong. You're right. That's true.
Yeah. Oh no, he's not. But he's just like they're like, you don't have any evidence, get out of here. He's just like, you will regret not cooperating. And he walks out into the rain where of course there's a bolt of lightning and it looks extra ominous because it's Brunt going in. It's pretty great. I love the art of this so much.
Yeah.
And Quark's is like, oh no, he's gonna make sure my license gets revoked. And then Quark starts quoting the rules of acquisition. Rule of acquisition number 6: never allow family to stand in the way of profit. And the bar is the best opportunity I've had, and I'm not going to jeopardize it by helping you. She goes, what about rule of acquisition number 62? The riskier the road, the greater the profits. Dun, 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 dun. Quark stops and says, how much profit we talking about? And she's just like, dude, it's the daughter of the Sluggo Cola chairman. Bars of gold-plated latinum. He's like, how many bars? she's like, look, just do it. He's like, okay, I'm in. So, yeah, here's the plan. Yep. So they're sneaking over to the Sluggo mansion. Very cool. I love their architecture. I love how rounded and like earthen mound it kind of is.
Yeah. Even some of the concept art for their space stations and things continues that. It's really lovely.
Look at the slugs at the gateway. The golden slugs
nice.
instead of lions.
Oh, that's a nice
Of
detail.
course, his door has like a giant bottle of Sluggo Cola on it. This is pretty great stuff. I love this issue. And there's Nilva's
Ferengi would
daughter
love
in there.
truck nuts or something like that,
Oh, they would. Yeah, truck bars of latinum.
Yeah, well, just truck lobes.
Oh, truck lobes. Yeah, you're right. There's definitely truck lobes. There she is in a dress. Quite scandalous. Quite scandalous. So yeah, then where's that crook Nilva? Quark says. My latest shipments of Sluggo Cola have only 39% live algae, and this thievery will not stand. He's just confronting her about her father's business. She's like, I don't even know who you are, man. Like, yeah. And this guy's just like, shut up and move out of the way. Let's get out of here. We're here to do a job. He's just fighting with everybody. Because guards have shown up. So they're running. They're running out of there. Running out of the Sluggo mansion.
And after their first
running through the
appearance, we very rarely
streets.
see Ferengi fight anything. So it's really
Yeah,
interesting.
really. Here's like a shot we get of like the actual sort of like city streetscape of Ferenginar.
Look at that.
Which is interesting.
Oh,
yeah. So
Wet
still
city
have power
streets.
lines, which I think is weird.
Yeah.
Seems a bit antiquated, but maybe there's no profit in not having power lines, or there's great profit in having power lines.
Yeah.
There is. Just
You
ask
can
the
meter
power
that
companies.
stuff, right? Any kind of
Yeah,
mains power, you can't do it.
Yeah.
It's
Another
really
nice
pretty.
cityscape shot there.
I love the way
like
the
that.
shadows like loom that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Good stuff. So
So
they're
they're
moving
basically making
along.
for the spaceport, right? As I recall.
Yeah. Yep. Looks like we're making a run for it. And get on that ship. Let's go. There they go. Yep. See, there's the spaceport, and there's a lot of
Oh,
different ships taking off already. Very
oh
cool,
yeah, all
different
those
designs there.
lovely Ferengi
Marauder
shaped
there.
ships. Yeah.
One Marauder. The other ones are like this one's really interesting. I don't know if you can see, but like the one at the very top there has a kind of an interesting shape to it.
Yeah, it really does. The whole aesthetic of the Ferengi, like the richness of the fabric, the whole
Yeah.
thing is just
Oh yeah.
um it's
Look
so
at this shot. Just
beautifully kind of at
shot.
odds, but also kind of works with them, right? Because they
Yeah.
like fine things, they like beautiful things, but they don't necessarily always appreciate them in a way that humans or others would understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh, sorry, man. I just was distracted there for a second. What was that last thing you said?
It's like, oh, read the comic book.
I was reading the
Uh,
issue. I'm like, this is great. You can't put
I mean,
this episode or issue in
it's a
front of
good
me.
sales pitch for an issue, for a one shot. Got
Yeah.
distracted reading it while reviewing it. Um,
Oh man.
I don't know what I was saying. Let's just keep moving.
Sorry, man. This is a good issue.
I'm gonna have to get a neural stimulator on there for you, buddy.
So they need a distraction. Moogie's just like, oh, I can do distraction. So Moogie's gonna be the distraction. She just walks up to them, the guards, fully clothed. Nice outfit. She says, I am Ishka, daughter of Adred, and I am here to demand equality for all females of Ferenginar. They're just like, it's a female, and she's wearing clothes? Don't just stand there. Get her! Like, what are we supposed to do with her? They're like, it's hard to look at her with those clothes on. She's like, what's wrong, boys? They're just like, did she speak to us?
The weight of taboo is just defeating them in their own minds. It's great.
The way Ferengi men panic so hard, like they just lose all like semblance of themselves as soon as there's a clothed female or if a female talks to them. They're just like, what is happening? Like,
Oh man, cannot hold this together.
Quark's just like, if nothing else, Ferengi are predictable. And then they sneak in. And then they get her back to Deep Space Nine, and Quark's back at his bar, and all is well.
It's
And
a
what do we have?
it's a tight story.
And he got paid though. He did get some gold plated latinum from Karov.
Mm-hmm.
And Rom's
It's
just like, you got to admit it, brother. Moogie sure has guts. And Quark's just like, yeah, I guess she does. And Bashir says, surprisingly, Quark, I kind of missed you while you were gone. Maybe it's time for me to try that Sluggo Cola. And Quark just looks at him and he's just like, I better think you'd better stick with root beer. And that's the yeah. Quark ain't selling no more Sluggo Cola, I don't think.
yeah. I don't think he's going to have much company with them.
37% algae or 39% algae. Give me a
That's
break.
scandalous proportion. How are you even supposed to serve that to people? They might not even think there's a live slug in there.
Yeah. So this one's super headcanon for me.
Oh god, I would
Well,
love this. Would have been one of a great companion piece with like the magnificent Ferengi and a little green
yeah.
man and a bunch of those brilliant Ferengi episodes.
Yeah.
This one is technically
Maybe.
feasible. It's like their diorama
Yeah.
backdrop paintings could have done the work. Like this is an
And a
episode
rain
they
machine.
pulled off right in the middle of making the series for sure.
Yeah.
That would have been a profound dose of levity in season 6.
Yeah. And you know what? We've been going through season 6 over on
Uh-huh. Nice segue.
Live Long and Podcast. And there's some stinkers that I didn't like. Season 6 has its stinkers. It's got some of the worst
There are a
episodes of
couple in
Deep
there,
Space
yeah.
Nine in it. So they could have put this in instead, and it would have been a lot better. Gotta say.
Yeah.
Okay?
So
Let's
where
get
else
out of
can
here.
we
You can.
find you around, Davin?
Yes, exactly. Well, you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Yep.
We are the
So why don't we get
Locutors of
out of
Trek.
here? Any final
Contact us
thoughts?
at locutorsoftrek@gmail.com
Well,
in the audio-only version.
this
wherever
is
you get
fun.
your
I love opening up the Trekle
podcasts.
trunk. I'm looking forward to doing it again soon. I hope they get that next issue to us pretty fast. I want to see where it goes with Kalos, man. I want another one of
And
those
well,
species one shots. They're great.
and the spin-off will be coming out soon too, where Worf's getting a
Really?
spin-off out of this story. I think it's called Star Trek Defiant, and has his team that features
Oh,
Lore and Belana Torres, among others. So,
nice. Very interesting. Well,
well,
on
shall we?
that exciting note, end transmission.